Regional Sales Director, South Asia, to please join us. And also I would request my team to set up the stage here.
For international markets. I'm actually from Scotland in the UK. I'm thinking that maybe for some of you my accent might be a little difficult, so I'll try and talk nice and slowly, and hopefully in the Q&A my colleagues who speak Hindi can do a little bit of translation for me if we need that. I'm really excited to be here today. Nick and I started talking about expanding into India more than 5 years ago, maybe even 6 years ago, and to finally get here and be sitting on the stage with my colleagues in front of all of you is just absolutely fantastic today. India has a rich culture in education, which we've already talked about this morning, and it makes it a very, very exciting market for D2L. Firstly, because of that rich culture in education, especially in engineering, it's a fantastic market for us to base engineering talent, and we already have multiple development teams that we've hired and are based here in India. On top of that, the scale and size of the education market in India makes it a very, very, very compelling market for our products and services. Today, we've identified more than 1,000 higher ed education institutions which we think are a really great fit for our platform, and already we have more than 50 that have adopted Brightspace today. We're absolutely committed to the Indian market, and as a founder-led company, although we're a public company, we're a founder-led company, we're able to invest for the long term. And so today, I can just mention a few of the investments that we've already made in India. Already I mentioned the multiple development teams which we have here. Starting at the beginning of this year with our global partner, Amazon Web Services, we're now able to offer cloud hosting located in India, hosted out of Mumbai. We have, very proud to say that we have a Hindi language pack, and I believe that we're the only global player in what we do that has invested in that already, really showing our commitment to the Indian market. And very soon we will have a D2L corporate entity, D2L India, which will be set up and ready. We hoped it would be ready for today, but it's not quite there. We're working our way through all of the paperwork, but very soon we will have a D2L entity, D2L India, which will help us expand further in the market. We also have a local team here, headed up by Dr. Prem, who you'll hear from shortly. And with that, I'm going to hand over to Mr. Nick Hutton, who's going to talk a little bit more about what we're doing here in Asia and specifically here in India. Thank you.
Thanks, Elliot. Namaste, good morning or good afternoon now, everybody. Thank you very much for spending the time today and joining us here for what obviously, as Elliot has mentioned, is, and also Rajesh has mentioned, is a very exciting event for us. So what I wanted to do just quickly was to give you a little overview and brief as to how we're viewing our business and our expansion in the Asia region. My role is Regional Director for Asia. I'm based in Singapore, and in fact our regional headquarters is based in Singapore. We have a team there whose focus is on supporting the major countries that we're doing business in across Asia, and of course our number one country in terms of support is India right now. And it's important to understand that we do a lot of work out of Singapore to support the team that's here. So whether that's work from a technical perspective, what we call customer success, which is working with our existing customers around the region and the 50 plus that we have in India to date, to make sure they're very successful in using and utilizing the Brightspace platform. And of course in a very important service that we deliver, which is what's called implementation. So implementing the Brightspace platform within the institution to make sure that it's working in the right way for that particular institution. We have a very key tagline when we talk about Brightspace in D2L and with our customers, and that is that one size does not fit all. In other words, every single student's journey, every single student's learning path is completely different, and it's very important for us to make sure that Brightspace, when it sits with one of our customers anywhere in the world, is set up in a way that makes sense for each one of the students who are using it, and of course for each one of the faculty who are using it to deliver. So we've been developing our business across Asia, and we've been successful in many countries, particularly in Singapore, in the Philippines, in Malaysia, in Indonesia, in Thailand, and other countries as well. In fact, to give you a kind of a particular focal point, in Singapore we have and we work with 75% of the major higher education institutions. So we have an extremely strong footprint in Singapore, and of course we use those institutions, those references and those experiences to be able to help Dr. Prem and his team here in having the conversations with the higher education institutions that we're working with in India. As was mentioned, we are fully compliant with the UGC parameters for online delivery, the accredited UGC institutions that are able to deliver online learning, and also with all of the parts of NEP 2020 that support the use of technology in delivering teaching and learning. So, as I mentioned earlier, and all of us are feeling the same way, this is a very, very exciting time for us. It's great to have a formal launch to follow essentially what has been a soft beginning for us for the last 4 years, including 2 years of the pandemic. But now we're announcing ourselves formally in India, and we're very excited to do so. So with that, let me pass over to Dr. Prem, who's going to talk a little bit more about what we're actually doing within India itself. Prem.
Thanks, Nick. And good morning and namaste to everyone. And I think, as rightly said by Elliot and Nick, this is a very exciting time for a company like D2L, education technology company like D2L, to be present in India and expanding in India. And the reason is that we are in such a current stage of affairs as far as education industry is concerned, that we are in the process of writing history. And when I say writing history, is that we are now getting into technology-enabled education. Since past 4 years of our presence in India, and we have seen that how from first customer, which happens to be Manipal Group, to now more than 50 customers in India, have utilized fantastic, innovative, world's most innovative learning management system and used it the way that has actually transformed the way Indian education system now operates. Going forward, and with the focus on new education policy and UGC's compliances, more and more of universities, higher education institutions, colleges would adopt an innovative learning management system like this. Now, when I talk about the new education policy and UGC compliance, new education policy clearly enshrines competency-related or competency-based education model. Good thing about Brightspace learning management platform from D2L is that this is based on the premise of CBE, what we call as competency-based education, and therefore gels well with our teaching pedagogies and teaching learning styles run in most of the Indian universities. Also, this learning management platform has been utilized by a large number of engineering and medical colleges in India. When I talk about medical colleges, we have used Brightspace learning management system by D2L in 5 of Indian medical colleges, who now, as per the new policies enshrined by new medical council, NMC, are now practicing competency-based medical education, or CBME. This is the only learning management system which is now compliant with NMC's policies and procedures, which is following the competency-based medical education. Going forward, I think most of the education institutions would go in for an innovative system like this. Now, besides this, our Government of India, our Honorable Prime Minister, has a fantastic vision, and especially in the next decade, the Indian government would be focusing more on healthcare and education. And education happens to be one of the most important criteria going forward. And there, the use of education technology will be of paramount importance. India happens to be the IT technology supplier to the world. बचपन में जब हम लोग पढ़ते थे तो हम लोग को पढ़ाया जाता था कि भारत एक कृषि प्रधान देश है. आज बोलते हैं भारत एक कृषि प्रधान देश के अलावा IT प्रधान देश भी है. IT टेक्नोलॉजी, लर्निंग मैनेजमेंट प्लेटफॉर्म्स हमारे एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशंस के लिए एक वरदान है आज के डेट में. और जैसे ही हम आगे जाते हैं, जब हम न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी को अडैप्ट करते हैं, यूजीसीज़ के पैरामीटर्स को अडॉप्ट करते हैं, तो ये लर्निंग मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम ब्राइट स्पेस बहुत काम आएगा. तो उस प्रावधान के अंतर्गत हम लोग का ये सबका मानना है कि आने वाले टाइम में इनोवेटिव लर्निंग मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम, इसके अंदर आज की डेट में दुनिया में 1500 से ज़्यादा क्लाइंट्स हैं हमारे जो कि इस लर्निंग मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम को अडॉप्ट कर रहे हैं और उसको यूज़ कर रहे हैं. और हिंदुस्तान के, अपने भारत देश के जितने भी यूनिवर्सिटीज़ हैं, 1000 के ऊपर यूनिवर्सिटीज़ हैं, 45,000 कॉलेजेस हैं जिसमें इंजीनियरिंग, मेडिकल और जनरल कॉलेजेस भी हैं. आने वाले समय में वो इनोवेटिव टेक्नोलॉजी, ब्राइट स्पेस जैसी इनोवेटिव टेक्नोलॉजी जो कि क्लाउड बेस्ड है, जिसमें कि बहुत सारे फीचर्स एंड फंक्शनैलिटीज़ ऐसे हैं जिसमें कि हम ऑनलाइन एजुकेशन, हाइब्रिड एजुकेशन और यूजीसी के जो नए नॉर्म्स हैं उसके हिसाब से एजुकेशन को प्रोवाइड कर सकते हैं. जैसा कि मेरे कोलीग्स ने बताया कि ये प्लेटफॉर्म हमने इंग्लिश के अलावा हिंदी में भी तैयार किया है. और एक्सेसिबिलिटी, जो कि दिव्यांग हैं, वो अगर इस प्लेटफॉर्म के थ्रू पढ़ना चाहते हैं तो उनको हम पहुंच सकते हैं. भारत के कोने कोने में हम पहुंच सकते हैं इस टेक्नोलॉजी के ज़रिए. इसके अलावा इंडिया में खासतौर से पिछले 4 वर्षों में हम लोगों ने अपने पार्टनर्स के थ्रू पूरे हिंदुस्तान में एक तरह से कवरेज रीच किया है. हमारे पार्टनर्स हैं, उनके 6 ऑफिसेज हैं, हमारे अपने D2L के खुद का स्टाफ है. हम लोग क्लाउड होस्टेड हैं यहाँ पर मुंबई में. और जितने भी हमारे छोटे छोटे स्थान हैं जहाँ पर यूनिवर्सिटीज़ हैं, चाहे वो Tier 1 टाउन्स हो, Tier 2 टाउन्स हो, हम सब जगह पहुँच चुके हैं. और आने वाले टाइम में हम लोग का ये विज़न है कि इंडिया में, हिंदुस्तान में हम जितना भी एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं, सब जगह पर ये वर्ल्ड की सबसे इनोवेटिव टेक्नोलॉजी को पहुँचा सकें. तो ये हमारा ध्येय है. और आगे आने वाले टाइम में आप देखेंगे कि ज़्यादातर एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशंस इनोवेटिव टेक्नोलॉजी, ब्राइट स्पेस बाय D2L इसका प्रयोग करेंगे. थैंक यू सो मच.
Thank you so much, everybody, for taking us through the journey and how D2L Bright Space has already entered the Indian market and has been doing wonderfully and tremendously well. Moving on, as Mr. Prem also mentioned, that India is taking the lead when it comes to digital transformation and technology. And we've all seen that from consulting a paper map to navigating and to reaching places, it's been substituted and replaced by phone GPS system. Consulting a book at a library has been replaced by search engines and even chat GPTs. And pandemic has also made us realize that how quickly and fastly we are incorporating those changes. Well, I think Brightspace is doing wonders when it comes to technology and education and learning. Moving on, it said that sharing of knowledge enlightens the world. So I would request all of you to please pour in your questions, and our team here will be more than happy to take those questions for all of you.